Hi there, I care and you matter. I'm Shannon and welcome to my channel and welcome to another writing video. I have been trying to read a book, adult fiction, by an author who I like his nonfiction, and I'm not sure how to say his name. I'm going to pronounce it Matt Haig. Probably Haig. Matt Haig. And I picked this book up because it's fiction. It's a fictional piece by him. And it's a Good Morning America book club pick, an international bestseller, and the Midnight Library. I just got so excited by this title. I guess I learned the hard way, a proverbial truth: you should never judge a book by its cover. But the reality is, so many of us do that, myself included. That said, I disagree with probably millions of people. I loathe this book. I hate this book. And it has been so hard for me to get through it. And I'm almost done. I thought about not reading it to the end. I thought about putting it on a shelf and reading a book I actually wanted to read. And don't get me wrong, I wanted to read this. But I got less than 80 pages. So I'm going to finish the darn thing. I was hoping that it would redeem itself, but it hasn't. And yeah, so this is part of the reason I've gone back to working on some nonfiction work. But my experience with this reminded me of an important truth that I read in another book that I love. Surprise, nonfiction self-help creativity book called Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. And I read this a while ago, loved it. I read it every morning before I even got up out of bed, or if I woke up in the middle of the night and couldn't sleep, I'd pull this out. It was on my nightstand. And while I was reading this book and contemplating how much I loathed it and what I should do going forward for my own direction, I remembered chapter 3 in this book. Write the book you want to read. Oh boy, yeah. So today in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to steal like a writer and write the book that you want to read. And yeah, we judge books by their cover all the time. If there wasn't some element of truth to that, then we wouldn't hear it, right? And not gonna lie, I saw this title, I saw this cover, it piqued my interest, it got me to buy the book, as did all of the good blurbs on the back, so I guess that's important to note too. But the more I thought about it, I tried to think, why was this book such a hit with me versus this one? And it's not, of course it helps that this is fiction. I'm not really a fiction reader. And this is nonfiction self-help creativity. Of course that has something to do with it. But this book, the size, how many pages it has, is a lot more accessible for someone like me who's crazy busy, who may only have a couple minutes at a time to read. I try to read in the morning and I read every evening as well. And then at night too if I can't sleep. But this book, oh my goodness, it felt just like a conversation that I need and will probably revisit a lot. And I thought, I want to write a book like that. So I guess tip number 1 is find a book that you really enjoy reading, that resonates with you, whether it be content, tone, and this could be fiction or nonfiction. For me, the truth is nonfiction. That's where I gravitate towards. But again, you can find a fictional book that really resonates with you and use that as a guide for tone, for scene, for character development, for story arc, for timing. I think that's really important too. I've really struggled with the timing of this story. So look for a book that you enjoy. Make notes while you read, if possible, either mentally or like I do on pen to paper, about what really resonates with you, what works, what doesn't, pros and cons. Also, pay attention if you read physical books like I do. Pay attention to that experience as well. Is the book size, is it too much? Is it too heavy? Is it too big? Is it awkward to throw in a bag and read elsewhere? Something I really loved about the size of this book, the format, is it's different. It's not the standard, what is it? 8 by 6, I think is standard. or don't quote me on that. Thereabouts is standard. This is very different. This is almost half the size. So just by the size alone made this book less intimidating. Not only that, like I said, I can throw it in my purse or in my bag. Does get a little lost in the magazine holder on my nightstand. But yeah, I just love how approachable it is. Also, look at the size of the font. Are you enjoying reading the font? Is it serif? Is it sans serif? Do you enjoy the leading, the spacing between the lines? Or is it feeling and reading a little too crunched up, like a blur, a sea of words on the pages? Could the layout designer have done a better job of breaking up the words in order to make it a more pleasurable read, easier on the eyes? Is it cream paper? Is it white paper? Generally speaking, the old school rule was that nonfiction was always on white and fiction was always on cream. But that's not the law of the land anymore. As if you're a self-published author, as I am, I've been both traditionally published and self-published, you get to make up your own rules. I tend to like how cream paper looks on the eyes. It's easier on the eyes, in my opinion. On the other hand, if you are planning a color interior instead of black and white, you're obviously probably going to go with a white paper. Something else to consider is, do you want to use a novelty font? For example, in Mr. Kleon's book, you can see over here, he's got clearly handwritten text. This is probably not a font. This is probably his own handwriting. But you can purchase, just make sure you get a font with a commercial license. You can use novelty fonts. I personally like to get fonts from Etsy sellers. I know you can get them off Creative Market as well. I'm sure there are other places. But when you're a self-published author and you're looking to get some specific fonts for use in your book and your layout, make sure you get one with commercial use or good for commercial usage. And just because it's always good to give, attribution where it's due, if you can, in the copyright section of your book, make sure that you note where the fonts came from. Give credit to the artist that created those fonts. Next, consider how a book breaks up the content. For example, what does the table of contents look like? Do they even have a table of contents? Some fiction books do, some fiction books don't. This one by Matt Haig does not have a table of contents. This one by Austin Kleon clearly does. And it's very simple, and it only spans 2 pages, as you can see. Yeah, the other thing, one more thing to look at is color. The design of the cover jacket, or the cover itself, the outside front cover. Does it catch your eye? You might think, if you are a self-published author, that isn't necessarily as important, but believe you me, it is. Because while people might not necessarily look for your book in a brick-and-mortar bookstore, you bet your bottom dollar they're going to be looking online. They're going to be looking at thumbnails of your cover. Now, this is exceedingly important to keep in mind. Whenever you design a cover, make sure it looks good at thumbnail size. Sure, people are eventually, hopefully, going to click on the description of your book in order to see, a larger cover image. But you know what? You have to catch their eye before they even click. So you have to make sure that your cover art is going to look good, teeny, teeny, tiny. And I guarantee you that this one, while it's very simplistic, it's straight to the point, it looks great at a thumbnail size. This one, not so much. All these tiny little pictures, while it looked great in Half Price Bookstore when I pulled it off the shelf, this does not look great at thumbnail size, but it doesn't need to because he's got the backing. He's got clout with his name. He's already got a built platform. He's an international best-selling author. So they had, the designer for the cover had a lot more leeway, right? Whereas people who are just starting out or self-published right here, like I am, you got to make sure that your cover art is looking great at that teeny tiny size. And that goes for digital books as well. Granted, people who purchase digital books, they're not going to be getting a physical copy of your book, but you want that thumbnail to hopefully speak volumes and compel them to not only click to read more, to read the description of your book, but to ultimately convert to a buyer and a reader, right? That's the goal. So I'm going to steal like a writer. And I am taking not everything that Austin Kleon says in his book or does in his book. I am going to do what his title says. I'm going to take the things I like and I'm going to put them through my own creative process and hopefully end up with a book that's that much better. It'll take all the pieces that I love about this book that I find so comforting, that makes me want to read again and again, and I'm going to reflect those components and those concepts and those ideas in the finished product of my book. So there you have it. Those are my different tips and hopefully tricks that can help you steal like a writer too. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for watching my video, and I will catch you in the next one. Until then, bye-bye.